this is going to be interesting. Hey, hi, hello. It has been a minute and a half since my last video, and as you can tell by the title of this video, I am going to be doing what I am calling the ongoing crisis tag, because I was tagged by Rekindled reader to do the quarter year crisis tag back in May, I believe. And then at the end of May, my world kind of imploded just a tiny bit. And I took another hiatus from YouTube, from Instagram, from the book community online. And I've really missed it. I've really wanted to get back, and I've just had to kind of rip the band-aid off and come forward with a little bit of humility that I once again pulled a Houdini act. So this is going to be the ongoing year crisis tag, and I will get into a little bit of what happened. It's not that serious in the grand scheme of things, but it definitely knocked me on my ass at the end of May. I spent June and July trying to gather my bearings again and get situated, but here we are for the time being. Oh God. Yeah, we're gonna go fix that. I also apologize that my window is going to be open while I film this video because it is so hot on the East Coast today, and I can't handle it. This fan is really doing nothing, but I did try and start this video with the window closed and just promptly started melting. So I have opened it. Hopefully the traffic and the seagulls and the people won't be too loud during the course of me filming this video. Seagulls, man. Now for this video, I have made myself an old-fashioned, which felt a small step above the straight whiskey that I contemplated pouring for this video, but I figured I'd put in a little bit more effort and make myself a cocktail that I know I truly enjoy. So I have just a really classic, simple old-fashioned here, but cheers. Yes, that hits the spot. So let's dive into this tag video, and maybe this will be a short one for me because the questions are pretty straightforward, but we will see. The first question is, how many books have you read so far this year? Now, I have read 26 books as of last night, which has me, I think, like 4 or 5 books behind my goal for the year. I started January with the hope of reading 52 books. I figured one a week was a good aspiration and an achievable aspiration. In previous years, I have read anywhere from 50 up to 100 in my really good years with lots of romances or middle grade fiction. But I have definitely not been reading as much as I would like the last 2 months especially. So I am hoping that maybe August, September will be a little bit more fruitful for me. But for the most part, what I have been reading, I have been really enjoying. And at the end of the day, that's the most important part. Which leads me perfectly into the second question, which is, have you already found a book you think might be a 2022 favorite? If not, what was your favorite book that you read that wasn't quite 5 stars? Now, this question is interesting because I have absolutely read a handful of books that have been 5-star reads so far this year. I don't know if I have one that I would call my favorite of the year so far. I've pulled up my Goodreads so that I can refer back to the actual books that I've read this year, and I tend to give 5-star ratings a little bit easier than I have in previous years. I just find if I enjoy a book, if it hits on all of the emotions, then that is a quick 5-star read for me if I enjoyed it. However, that's not to say that the 5-star books I rate are the perfect book. So looking at this right now, I think To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo, which is right here over my shoulder. I believe I gave that one 5 stars. Wasn't a perfect book by any means, but I really, really enjoyed reading it. Mark of the Plague and The Assassin's Curse by Kevin Sands. I believe I gave both of those books 5 stars. And honestly, that might take the place for my favorite book / series of the year thus far. It is middle grade fiction, middle grade historical fiction, and you follow these 2 young boys and they just get up to the most hilarious, most fun shenanigans, and it's full of mystery and riddles that you're right alongside them trying to solve. So I really, really love those books, that series. Another book that I read really recently, Don't Call the Wolf. I gave 5 stars and I actually filmed my reaction to that in a reading vlog, so that will hopefully be coming soon. The next question is, what is your least favorite book that you've read in 2022 so far? And this one isn't too difficult for me because it is A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. Now, if I really don't like a book, I tend to just not give it a star rating because I recognize that it's just not for me. That is, unless it is incredibly toxic and I think dangerous, then I might give it a star rating. But if it's just not my cup of tea, I tend to just give a honest review but leave off the rating so that I'm not negatively impacting the book from those that it's truly targeting. And A Touch of Darkness is the case for this one. I was just not a fan. I've already talked about this book in a previous video or in a forthcoming video, so I won't get into too much of the details, but it just was not for me. I really didn't like the tropes that were used throughout it, and I didn't find it an enjoyable or spectacular read. The fourth question is, what is your most read genre this year? Now, this is hands down fantasy. I think since probably 2017 or so, when I graduated university, fantasy has been my most read genre each and every year. I try to branch out and read a little bit more science fiction. That's usually one of my goals each and every year. I tend to read a lot of romance, and I read a lot of general, just English lit, or classics, but hands down, fantasy, most read genre by a long mile. The fifth question is, what is a book you have read in 2022 that surprised you? Now, I kind of have 2 answers for this question, because the first one is To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo, because I was not expecting to love that book as much as I did. I went into it with kind of low to no expectations and really, really enjoyed it and was just blown away. And in that same vein, I went into reading Don't Call the Wolf by Alexandra Ross with those same low to no expectations and was just blown away. I think this kind of says something about me and my reading, in that I tend to go into some books with very high expectations that aren't met, but those 2 books that I didn't know what to expect or didn't expect much truly blew me away, and I think they were both 4.5 to 5 star reads for me. The 6th question is, what is a 2022 release that is already out and you have not read but want to? This is another really easy question for me to answer, because that is All the Seas of the World by Guy Gavriel Kay. And I want to read this one and pick it up so badly, but I have 3 unread Kay books on my shelf and I can't quite justify picking up another one when I don't have a set plan of, yes, I'm going to pick this one up next and I'm going to read it right away, because the existing Kay books on my shelves have been there for quite some time now, and I definitely want to get to those before I continue to buy more from this author, even though I know I love him and I love his writing. So I'm very much looking forward to that one and I want to read it soon, hopefully sometime in the autumn. The seventh question is, what is one goal you are succeeding at in 2022 so far? And this one was really tricky to think of, and I don't want to think too hard on how difficult it was for me to try and think of an answer to this question. I don't know if I'm doing a great job at this, but it's definitely something I am striving towards and trying to do my best at, and that is just kind of showing myself some grace, especially in the last 2 months. So at the end of May, I got an eviction letter. After my building was purchased by new owners, I was told I had to leave, I had to stay, the rent was being jacked 50% and then it wasn't. And the last 7 months have just been absolute turmoil and really difficult to kind of keep plodding through. But then yes, at the end of May, a week and a half after being told that I could stay, I was told via official letter that I could not. So this wall of books will not be my background for very much longer. I have about another month and then I have to move. So through all of that, it has been very difficult, and I have been trying to show myself the utmost grace that I can possibly scrounge up and manage. And one facet of that is the last 2 months, I really haven't had the energy to do much reading, or my focus just hasn't been there. So I've been trying, and for the most part, doing pretty well at not beating myself up and not playing the comparison game of looking at those who have read 100 books so far this year and getting really down in the dumps that I've only read 25, 26, because I've been more accepting of the fact that we're all on our own little reading journey, and there are so many external factors that affect your motivation and your focus. So I have been trying very hard to show myself more grace this year, and I think I've been doing an okay job at it. We have a little guest who joined us. My cat Spencer is lurking somewhere. Would you like to join me? Nope, he just left. Okay. Now, the 8th question is, what is one goal that you would like to focus on more? And I have 2 for this question. One is probably pretty obvious, and that is consistency. I have not been the most consistent by any stretch of the imagination over the past year, year and a half that I've been participating in the online book community. I have pulled many a Houdini act when life just gets a bit overwhelming and I need to come back into myself, and I don't feel like sharing myself on the internet, but that is okay. However, it is a goal that I would like to get a little bit more consistent, maybe get a bank of videos filmed and edited, especially if there is a move coming, which there is, so that I have that to pull from in order to help my consistency on those days, those weeks that I don't really have that extra in me to give. And the second answer I have to this question is to ensure that I'm reviewing all of my reads. I have lost count of the number of times just in the past month and a half that I've thought, oh, I read that book. What were my thoughts again? Went onto my Goodreads and I only had given a star rating when I had been so sure that I had written a review for that book. And it's always a little bit disappointing to me because first and foremost, I write my reviews to spark my own memory and to remind myself what I thought of the book and what I enjoyed about the book. So it's so disappointing when I look back and I don't have anything that I actually wrote down. And when I get in those moods where I don't really feel like reading or my focus isn't there, I find it very difficult to consequently write a review. So I end up just giving it a star rating and thinking, oh, I'll write that review someday down the road. If you go onto my Goodreads page right now, you will see the result of that, because the last 4 or 5 books I've read, I have not sat down and actually wrote a review for. So I really want to set aside an evening, set aside an afternoon to go back and look at the book notes I made in my book journal and write up reviews for those books. There are people being very loud outside. And the final question, are there any new booktubers that you have come across that you would like to promote? So as part of me not posting or uploading for the last 2 months, I haven't even been watching anything. I took a hard step back. However, just before I pulled my latest Houdini, I had a few interactions with 2 new channels, Bookish Chaz and VADANIA SILVERSCRIBE. So shout outs to them. I apologize that I disappeared there for a while. I do have all of your videos from the last 2 months in my watch later playlist on YouTube that I'm hoping to get to over the next couple of days. And of course, Rekindled Reader, I have all of your videos saved as well, and I'm slowly working my way through them. But yes, thank you to those channels for, I think you had commented on a video of mine, and then I consequently saw your content, your channel, and really have been enjoying it so far. So thank you to them. That is another thing that I need to get better at, is just interacting and commenting and liking all of the videos that I tend to watch, because I do tend to be quite reserved even online. But shout out to Bookish Chaz and VADANIA SILVERSCRIBE. I hope I'm pronouncing both of those usernames correctly. And that is the end of this tag video. I actually haven't been recording for as long as I tend to ramble on for. I've also gotten a little bit personal in this video, so we'll see what the final edit time turns out to be. Hopefully it was a short and sweet one, but thank you very much for watching this video. I cannot guarantee that I will be back soon, but I am hopeful that I will be back very soon. Bye for now. No. Yes. Come here. Yes, come on. Oh, he was not happy to be picked up there. But here's Spencer. He has been doing very well. He's been just living his best life with lots of naps. He's also been loving the slow build of boxes that has happened in my apartment, because he just gets little forts everywhere that he burrows into and claims as his own. I'm sure once actual moving day comes, he will not be quite as content, but for now, he's doing very well, even though he does not want to be held right now. So, bye!